Hi everyone, so today we will talk about why you can't compare COVID-19 vaccine. But first, let's know what is a vaccine. So a vaccine contains weakened or inactive parts of a particular organism. We call it the antigen that triggers an immune response within the body. It is enough that our body can learn to build a specific antibody. Then if the body encounters the real antigen later, as part of the organism's response, it already knows how to defeat it. Now let's go back to the question why you can't compare COVID-19 vaccines. So the moment we hear about a vaccination program related to COVID-19, we suddenly think of its brand and the efficacy rate of the vaccine that is going to be administered. We are very focused to the efficacy rate of the vaccine and it serves as our judgment with the quality of the vaccine. We are always prompted with a question, what is the efficacy rate? No, we tend to associate efficacy to effectiveness. We view these numbers in efficacy rate as the effectiveness of a certain vaccine. And the implication is that we do not participate to vaccination programs that administer vaccines with low efficacy rate than with the available vaccines with higher efficacy rate. And thus we wait in making our lives in danger as we are still more vulnerable to COVID-19. So we need to stop and examine more about the vaccine and what is behind these numbers and efficacy rate. These numbers mislead many about what is the true purpose of a vaccine. To enlighten us, let's differentiate vaccine efficacy and vaccine effectiveness. But first, let's understand what is vaccine efficacy. So what is a vaccine efficacy? So it is the percentage reduction in a disease in a group of people who received a vaccination in a clinical trial. So now it's time to differentiate vaccine efficacy and vaccine effectiveness. So first we have here vaccine efficacy. So it provides information about how well a vaccine works under the conditions of the clinical trial. So scientists usually base it on factors that they can quantify, such as numbers of laboratory confirmed cases of COVID-19. But the ideal conditions of a clinical trial do not necessarily reflect what is happening in the real world outside of clinical trial. On the other hand, vaccine effectiveness tells us how well a vaccine works under the real world conditions once people outside of clinical trials receive the vaccine. Many factors can influence how vaccine performs outside of a clinical trials. One of these is the health of those receiving the vaccine. Underlying health conditions can affect vaccine's effectiveness. Another factor is that how the virus changes with time. It undergoes mutation, making vaccine less effective. Therefore, vaccine efficacy rate will not determine the effectiveness of the vaccine. So these are the COVID-19 vaccines efficacy rate that are now available and administered in the vaccination programs of the government. So we have here the COVID-19 vaccines efficacy rate. So we have the Pfizer, the BioNTech, after 7 days, second dose, we have a 95% efficacy rate, a 94% efficacy rate of Moderna after 14 days of second dose, and then 92% from Sputnik 5, 21 days after first dose, and then the Novavax, 89%, 7 days after second dose, and then the 67% of Oxford or the AstraZeneca, 15 days after the second dose. Last, we have the Johnson & Johnson, 66%, 28 days after single dose. So remember that These efficacy rates are only information about how well a vaccine works under the conditions of the clinical trial, but it does not assure the effectiveness of a vaccine. Many experts also say that these are not even the best numbers to judge a vaccine. Remember that these numbers are not the assurance of the effectiveness of the vaccine. So preventing any infection at all is not always the point of a vaccine. So the goal of a vaccine program for COVID-19 is not necessarily to get to COVID-0, but it's to tame this virus or defang it, to remove its ability to cause serious disease, hospitalization, and death, according to Umesh Adalha of Johnson Hopkins University Center for Health Security. So let's get vaccinated. Remember that a vaccine protects an individual, but a community vaccination protects the whole community, even those who can't vaccinate. So it is a social responsibility, no? We protect ourselves and protect other people from the virus. Okay, good day everyone. Once again, I am Hermenegildo III C. De La Cruz, and I hope you learned something today from my video lecture on why we can't compare our COVID-19 vaccines. And then I provided there the reference and also a link for you to see a more deeper explanation about why we can compare COVID-19 vaccines. So I'm wishing you all a happy and safe Saturday, and God bless us all.